Welcome back to the Senior Network. We are now joined by Heather Flowers, Director of Nursing Right at Home.
It's so good to be here.
So glad you made it, Heather.
Thank you. Thank you.
I know that you and I could probably talk all day long, but
Yes.
let's get down to the viewers that may not realize. I mean, most people these days understand what home care is, right? Okay, and home health and all that. But I don't think a lot of people really, because all agencies do not have it, but your role as, you say Director of Nursing, but there's so much more to that. Meaning how you are a navigator, a liaison. So kind of talk about that, if you will, for the viewers.
I will, because you're 100% right. Probably the role I do the least is the Director of Nursing.
Exactly.
I am absolutely out there with the families and the patients and making sure that all of the pieces go together. So if the families have questions about what's going on with mom and dad, I will talk to them, at all hours of the day and night because
And
they're
you
working.
do. Yes,
Yeah.
I know you do.
But that's important
Yeah,
because
yeah.
they may not be able to talk between 9 and 5, so they need to talk at 7 in the morning or in the evening.
Yes.
And sometimes clients, they feel very, they get very connected with me, and so they feel comfortable with me. So they're more. It's easier for me to take them to the doctor, and
Sure.
and they have a good sense of comfort. And in home care, especially, that is so important.
Right.
Because you have caregivers that may change and come into their home, but I am the constant. And so I am the one that they can always call and say, hey, Heather, can you help me with this? Can you do this? I need to go to water aerobics. How am I going to get there?
Yeah.
And so my job is, it's endless. I mean, I can just do whatever needs to be done to make sure that the family, both the family and the client are satisfied and happy.
Well, and I think one of the most important parts too is you actually go in the very beginning and do what we call onboarding. You meet with the family members,
Yes.
you talk about what they need, you come up with a plan of care,
Absolutely.
correct?
Yeah.
And that's how you build the relationship in the beginning, correct?
Correct. Yes, correct. Yes.
And then at that point, for example, if it's a 24-hour case, which means we're in the home 24 hours, 7 days a week, then you're a big part of that.
Correct.
And you're
Correct.
supervising the care staff,
Yep.
correct?
Yep, making sure that the caregivers are following the plan of care.
Sure.
And then also tweaking the plan of care.
Exactly.
Because when I'm sitting there and before we go in, they may want, no, I don't need very much, or, and then everything changes when you get there. So that all has to change. The caregivers, we have to make sure that there's a good fit between the caregivers and the clients and the caregivers and the family.
Yeah.
Because it's the totality of the situation, not just, how the caregiver interacts with the client. So it's a big job.
It is, and I think that's why Right at Home stands out, is because sometimes it's not a perfect fit.
Correct.
You know that. I mean, there's personalities involved. Now, if it's somebody that's a very acute situation, maybe a little different, but we take on clients when they're fairly healthy sometimes, just from a safety standpoint.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
And people need to understand, and you're a big part of that, is if it is not a good fit, that's not the end of the world.
Right.
You change it and find a good fit.
That's right. That's right. And I guess the other really important thing that I think Right at Home makes Right at Home the best is that I'm a free commodity to them.
No charge.
There's no charge. I don't bill for my time.
Right. Unless
I don't bill when
actual hands-on care.
Correct.
Right,
correct.
right.
If it's a skilled,
Sure.
skilled wound care, IVs or something.
Right.
But I'm available to them, and there's not a lot of home cares that have that.
Right.
And I always say that if my parents would have had somebody like me
Yeah.
before they declined, they would have been able to stay in their beautiful home in Sea Pines a lot longer than they were able to because
Right.
they didn't have anyone
Yeah.
and they didn't know where to go.
Now tell me how you help someone decide on how much service they need, meaning days of the week, hours of the day. You sit down and kind of talk about their normal day?
We do, and I am not a salesman, so I
Right.
say that up front, but very easily I can see what it is
Yeah.
people need, and how, and I always start with, day and night. Does your loved one get up at night? Because if you can keep them safe at night, well then now you just need to concentrate on the daytime.
Exactly.
And then where do they have the most challenges? And a lot of times people will say, oh, they need help in the morning for a couple hours and help at night. Well, that's a very difficult thing to staff and to navigate and to manage. And really, what about those 6 hours in the middle of the day? Who's helping them then? And so once I can explain that to the family, that, you know, it's really, if you need help here and here, you probably need it at lunchtime too.
Absolutely. I cannot believe we're out of time. Heather, great information as always. Great
Thank
to
you.
see you, okay?
Thank you so much.
Stay with us, more to come here on the Senior Network.